From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big day here on LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. And I stand with Ukraine. We'll go over the latest details of what's happening on the ground in Ukraine versus Russia right today and how it impacts your money back at home. The breaking news by the minute in this recording, but we're going to start first with the CR for stimulus, the continuing resolution just a few days away that could get a $2,000 stimulus check in there, all lined up beautifully. There is a dedicated $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds in there that would be enough for a stimulus check. Yes, I have all the incredible great news in today's recording. Then we look back at the Build Back Better Act that is going to be front and center as the president addresses the nation in the State of the Union address just a few days away. We'll be looking at SS 300 that Joe Biden can do overnight and should do because of new data that came in just in the last few hours about where inflation is going. All the latest details in today's big recording, direct and live from Santa Monica, California, and its shores. We'll be looking at the big money that's available in CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0. And of course, looking back at Build Back Better Act that's going to the finish line, that has those huge checks in there. And then we'll be looking out to Europe and also Ukraine and Russia. I support Ukraine, and we'll go over more about how to learn about what's happening on the front line. We'll be looking at the destruction of the Russian economy overnight. The U.S. sanctions are working, and the Russian economy is imploding and may no longer rank in the top 20 by the end of this week and may likely fall out of the top 10 by the end of today's recording, which you're watching direct from Santa Monica, California. It's a big day with a lot of breaking details. I support Ukraine, and this is Home LALATE and Home and Stream Stimulus. We're going to go over all your big incredible money with those adult automatic stimulus checks that Joe Biden wants you to have, and also the impact on these other elements that impact your financial news across the board. It happens right now, direct from Santa Monica. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hope your day is going well, and jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. And if you're new to Home LALATE, it's a live interactive show, so I will be interacting with you in the live chat. Did you get your shirts of I Support Ukraine? A lot of viewers have, and a lot of them are getting them today. You can go on Amazon.com. People are asking me how you get them. Just go and search for the keywords I Support Ukraine and show your support. Meantime, if you want to follow the latest developing details from the battleground, go on the Twitter account of LALATE, and I'm retweeting the official statements from the Ukrainian ministry, the Ukrainian forces, and also the journalists that are part of Ukrainian journalist publications there in the capital. These aren't U.S. reporters. These are actually Ukrainian, and all you have to do is press the button to translate it and learn the latest developing details. But we'll have that in just a second and how it impacts your money. You're looking at beautiful stock footage of the capital of Ukraine. But first, let's start with your money, Build Back Better Act. If you've been with this channel before, you know the first half of the show, this special broadcast, Home and Home Stream Stimulus, is about your money, and we're going to start right there, right now. We have lots of legislation, and the first issue, of course, is Build Back Better Act, but that's not the first to pay you potentially money. It's CR for Stimulus, but let's first start with Build Back Better Act. You're going to be hearing about it, the Forced Stimulus Recon, a lot in the next few days as the president addresses the American people in the State of the Union address, in which he announces that Build Back Better Act will happen. It will, folks. It has at least $15,000 of checks, 3 clusters, 3 add-ons. Let's look at the incredible deliciousness starting right now from the shores of Santa Monica. Hope the weather is good where you are. It's beautiful here in Santa Monica right today. In that first cluster, they got in their hazard pay 1 more year, the earned income tax credit. Great news for my essential workers. $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 to care for young children. They got the Pell Grant $550 check for college students and the $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. And then they got in their home repairs. You need it. You live in a low-income community, they got those free home repairs in there as well. That is the first of 3 clusters of checks. There is also 3 add-ons of checks, as add-ons have been added throughout the process. The first comes from here in the shores of Santa Monica, California. You're looking at our beautiful pier here in Santa Monica, California. The first one added by Maxine Waters here in Los Angeles. It is a whopping approximate $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. Wow. She got it in there on the House side and staying in there on the Senate side. $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. It is incredible. Now, that is the first of 3 add-ons. Let's go into the second cluster checks, home repairs and paid leave. Paid leave if you need to take off from work due to sickness or illness, got it in there. And the home repairs staying in there as well. This is to weatherize your home. Those incredible sums of money got in there. What is paid leave? Paid leave is a lot of money. It is $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. If you make $35,000 or more per year, then it's $800 a week. $15,000 annual salary, then $400 a week. A lot of money and a lot of deliciousness. 4 to 6 weeks per year. It's huge. That is the second cluster of checks. Now, what is the second add-on of checks? It comes with the incredible Bob Casey and Joe Biden. Can you imagine if you need home health care, you don't have it under some of your programs? Well, they got in there. A little bit less than $250 billion got that incredible checks in there for free home health care and seniors and people on disabilities. Let's go to that third cluster checks. Build Back Better Act, for stimulus recon. Here we go, baby. Free internet for all checks, seniors checks, farmers checks, independent contractors checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, and then the seniors. Oh, you're doing really well. The seniors are getting 2 rounds of checks on the House, more on the Senate. On the House side, they got the Medicaid gap fix, and they also got the hearing aid checks. But on the Senate side, look at that surfer. He is killing that wave, isn't he? You think he's a senior? Yeah, I have seniors who surf who are incredible footage. You can't imagine how good they are. They're almost 70 years old. They're killing on the waves. The seniors also on the House side got in their dental vision and lowering the eligibility age of, which is par for the course when we're talking about adding checks to this incredible recon, because guess what? The other check that they would add in there, of course, I think you know what it is. Jump on the live chat and write those 3 letters. Yeah, there's someone did it. It is MSC. MSC is a body of additional checks that are sent out from IRS to you on a monthly basis. So that's why we call it MSC, monthly IRS stimulus checks. And who gets them? Now remember, Build Back Better Act, which we're at so far in this recording, has a lot of checks in there, folks, for you. Lots of checks. Seniors, SSI, SSDI, adults, you all get these checks, but these would be additional checks that come out from IRS. Automatic checks. Joe Biden says he's ready to send them out. You can hear him talking about these checks and everything in Build Back Better Act in that State of the Union address. It may not be 5 minutes of the address, but he's going to mention it. It's going to go out. So how much are these MSCs and who gets it? Take notes. Here we go over the incredible great news. You get it if you got a third stimulus check, which you did. Of course you did. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it. Double it, because there's 2 of you. Family of 4, you get it. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, you get it as well. Is it income? It is not income. It's not taxable. It's offered on a nationwide basis, not on a state-by-state basis. It goes off the most recent tax return, so if that tax return had a direct deposit account, that's how you get paid. And it is automatic for adults. The children get their checks through the CTC. How much money are we talking about? We're talking about $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, through 6 months. This is a body of legislation to be added, a modification to be added to the body of legislation in the Senate subcommittee. But that hasn't happened. Over 11 months of negotiations. So 5 weeks ago on this channel, I brought back a big success story from 2020. In 2020, I came up with the idea of something called CR for stimulus. And the concept was to get a check into something else faster. And guess what? It worked. And guess what's happening right now? It's looking even better again. What's at issue? Let's go over the details right now. The concept is you've been supporting and holding the support for Build Back Better for stimulus recon for 11 months, but it hasn't happened yet. So let's get a check into something sooner, Faster, bipartisan, smaller, quicker, faster. Did I say faster? Yeah, I said faster. Let's say it again. Faster. And what is it? A continuing resolution. It is a budget bill that's done every 3 to 6 months. Number one, small, just a few hundred pages length of bill. Bipartisan support, Republicans and Democrats. We like it so far. And inherent deadline. What do we have? We have one. When? Early March. Ooh, how much money? $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds. Wow, that's a lot, isn't it? Yeah, it's enough for a $2,000 stimulus check. Bipartisan support, inherent deadline. Well, who has the discretion? The discretion is of the cabinet members of Joe Biden, including Janet Yellen. Here she is, Treasury Secretary, oversees IRS. So we're looking pretty good and thick and pretty. Now, we had a tense moment last week when the restaurant union tried to take our money. No, get your dirty hands off of our money. And then the White House tried to get some of it for COVID relief. No. Anyone else I'm worried about? The airlines. You know, they're always showing up at the 11th hour trying to get some of our money. So they're not showing up yet. Don't tell them about this channel. Don't have the airlines watch me. They'll find the money and they'll start showing up and asking for some. But the great news is that Patrick Leahy, the senator from Vermont, Democrat, has kept everyone at bay and say, we're getting it done. So what do we need to do? If it's all so lined up, what do we need to do to ensure that this $2,000 check goes into these discretionary funds? Very simple word, advocate. You need to pick up the phone and advocate because now it's in the crunch time. In addition to Patrick Leahy, who's not on this scroll, you need to contact these senators and say, very simple words. The continuing resolution has an inherent deadline now of early March. It is $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds. Give us a $2,000 stimulus check. Very simple. Now, you want to take it up a notch, of course you do, then what would you say? You would say, well, I've been supporting you on Build Back Better Act for 11 months, folks. You haven't gotten it done. You know we need checks. Build Back Better Act is all about checks, lots of checks, and we haven't gotten any checks from it. So give us a check and get it into these discretionary funds. The discretionary funds are in the discretion of the right person, cabinet member, so get a $2,000 stimulus check in there. Now, you can go up another notch if you want to. It's up to how you can keep it professional, respectful, but the next notch would be basically to say, hey, the issue at hand is that you did this before. You did this in December 2020 when you wanted to win those Georgia Senate seats, and you put a check in there to ensure you still had our support. So put it in there, and we'll continue to support you across the land. The issue at hand is that we need that check. Inflation is growing out of control. And while the President of the United States will be addressing Build Back Better Act during the State of the Union address in just a few days from now, and he'll put Build Back Better Act on the front page again, folks. It will be front page. It ain't paying a check that day. This continuing resolution is just a few days away. That could pay you the check really quickly. All right, so now let's go into the next thing on the quick horizon right behind that. That is SS 300. And SS 300 is really right in front of us. What is SS 300? During her run for campaign for President of the United States, Elizabeth Warren, senator out of Massachusetts, said she would raise your benefits up $200 a month, 6 to 12 months. Okay, I called it SS 200. Joe Biden then made it one of his campaign promises. He adopted it after she withdrew for her run for president. He didn't just say it then. He said it after he became president-elect. He put in his campaign promise, his campaign pages at joebiden.com, still published, saying that you need $200 more per month in desperate need of it. Guess what? You didn't have inflation then when he wrote that. Now you do. 11, 8, 12% inflation. So you need it more than ever. Throughout the year of 2021 last year, Senate Democrats said, we're doing it by fist stimulus because the president hasn't taken care of it. Well, they didn't get it done either. So now, 5 weeks ago, I delivered on air my solution for it across the board. It's a very simple solution. It's simply a darn phone call. Joe, pick up the phone and call the Social Security Administrator. Tell them to swap out COLA with inflation. It's as simple as what he did with SNAP last year. He picked up the phone and called and said, raise SNAP, people aren't getting paid enough money. The agency has the discretion of what to do, but he can encourage them what to do because he gave them the job. He hired the person. Pick up the phone and call them, Joe, and say, replace COLA with inflation. What is happening right now that's breaking news on this across many fronts? First, if you swap it out right today, you get $200 more per month right away. Right away. It may take a 30-day run, but right away. And that would be $200 a month, not just for 6 months like Liz was talking, lifetime. Then The way inflation is hanging at the moment, an additional $100 in December. That's SS 300. And the way it's heading thereafter, about $100 every year after that. About SS 400. Breaking news that came in overnight, and it's huge, is that the inflationary number, which I was dead on right for over 9 months on this channel, is also still accurate as well. Now, when you swap COLA for inflation, you want to swap into inflation when it's high. I don't think I've been making this point clear enough, so I'm making it a little clearer today. Inflation is at its highest price point right now. You don't want to swap into inflation 7 months from now, folks, when it's lower. You want to swap into it now when it's high. And the benefit is that it's high now, and it was high last month. The question is whether it's going to be high in a month from now or 2 months from now. You don't want to take the chance. What's at issue? The FOMC meetings, 5 meetings in this 1 year, and those interest rate spikes, the inflationary numbers, all breaking news. Let's go over the details of them, each of them right now, really quickly. The concern is that the Federal Reserve, that governs our monetary policy, is meeting in 5 meetings, 1 per month, over the next 5 months to determine how to lower inflation by raising interest rates. What's the consensus? In 5 meetings, there'll be 5 interest rate spikes. That's a consensus, a quarter basis point, which will bring down inflation. You want Joe to do this now before inflation goes down. Now, there are concerns that the Federal Reserve may have 7 interest rate spikes in 5 meetings. Ouch. And that the first meeting, just a few days from now, March 15th, March 16th, there will be a half basis point. Ouch. You don't want Joe to wait on this. You want him to move right now. Now, how do we know where inflation is right now? Well, you listen to me. You look at the data. Last year, the Federal Reserve got it really wrong. Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, said that the inflationary rate in December 2021, last month, 2 months ago, would be 1 to 2% and temporary or transitory. I said, I don't buy it, Jay. I don't buy it, Jay. Wall Street said 2 to 3%, temporary, transitory. I said, I don't buy it. I said it was going to be 8% and not temporary. Well, the labor number came in. It takes about a month for it to come in. It came in, and I was dead right on. It came in at 7.5%, the inflationary number, true inflationary number for the month of December 2021. Then, in January last month, I trained you as a viewer how to learn about gauging inflation, how you can predict inflation before I can even report it to you. It's very simple. You look at the price of eggs in the supermarket. Are they going up 10 cents this week? Buy the same egg, same brand, same market, same quantity. Watch the price and see if it's moving. If you see it moving, calculate how much it's moving. Did it go up 10 cents on $1 a dozen? That's 10% inflation you just witnessed before I can even report it. You are an indicator of inflation before I can even report the news. That's the best source of inflation. But here's the breaking news overnight. One of the most important people of the equation, a Fed head, one of the Federal Reserve here in the United States, said that the inflationary number right now is not softening up. Bingo. So 8%, 7.5%, we're not coming down. This comes from Christopher Waller, who is the Federal Reserve Governor and spoke in a conference in Santa Barbara here in California. He said, I expect the inflation to remain elevated, high, and only show modest, slight signs of deceleration, slight signs of going down in the next months thereafter. So, translation, 8%, staying at 8%. 7.5%, staying at 7.5%. It ain't going down. So you want Joe to do the swap out of SS 300 right now to kick it in across the board. Now, we have the concern about those FOMC meetings just a few days from now. Will the Federal Reserve come in and raise the interest rate spikes a half basis point? Ouch. If it does, then you would get less of a spike on the benefits. Most consensus are that the situation in Ukraine and Russia is still unraveling, that the Federal Reserve will do quarter basis points. Good on that. Now, the other great news is that the United States has, in the last few hours, seen a way to really keep one of your major economic pressures at home stabilized, and that's the pressure at the pump. I'll have the latest details on that in just a second, but what I want you to know is that you don't have to wait 5 weeks from now, 5 months from now, 5 years from now to get money. There's thousands of dollars available for you right today. Thousands of dollars are available to viewers of this channel and are getting it by the minute, by the hour. We don't have to wait for CR for stimulus next week. We don't have to wait for SS300 a few days thereafter. We don't have to wait for Build Back Better to the State of the Union address. You can get this money right today. What is it? It's coming up after the commercial break. Then we'll be cutting back to the battleground of Ukraine and Russia and how it impacts your wallet. I have breaking news, folks. As the economy of Russia is being wiped off the map overnight. This ain't the 1920s, folks. You can kill an economy in just a second, and I'll tell you how the Western allies are doing an incredible job of it. It's a big second half, and I stand with Ukraine. You should as well. The latest details as it impacts your financial markets back in the States coming up in the after the commercial break. But first, here's a little bit about the community page. See you back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. You're looking at beautiful footage of the capital of Kyiv, stock footage, the capital of Kyiv in Ukraine, right now as Ukrainian officials met at multiple times with Russian officials in negotiation settlements today. No one thought much of those settlements would happen. They're not turning over the country to Vladimir Putin anytime soon. But Vladimir Putin obviously didn't anticipate what the Western allies have done: destroy his economy. The latest breaking news on the second half of this recording. Boy, it's exciting. But we're going to start with the big money that you can get, including thousands of dollars right today from third stimulus. We'll be looking at that incredible money of the Build Back Better Act and a look at the time horizon of all these incredible checks that are coming to you one at a different time. We have a lot to go over, and you're watching the source of where you should be. The number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. You're watching LALATE. Hit that subscribe button right now. Among broadcast, cable, and internet broadcasts, you're watching the number 3 most viewed, understood, and educational financial news channel. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Coming up next is a brand new Afternoons LALATE at 3 o'clock. The 1 o'clock Afternoons LALATE is before that, and the Evenings LALATE as well. Let's go into the big money that I want you to get right today. It's third stimulus. Have you cashed some checks today from this channel? You didn't know there's some checks? Yeah, there's some checks. Viewers are cashing thousands of dollars of checks this week by listening and learning. Because this channel, folks, is all about getting you money. It's third stimulus. What is third stimulus? Isn't that the one before? It is the one before. In December 2020, when the pandemic was ravaging millions of Americans, I showed viewers how to find money for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance. And at the time, I told you that I'm training you how to get this money because when third stimulus comes out in a few months in early 2021, there'll be a lot more of it. I was training you for something that I never thought would have lasted as long as it's lasted. Why? Because there was a lot more money dedicated to that I ever thought. $48 trillion of funds billions of dollars of funds were dedicated to this program, and that money is still paying out viewers to this day. When it became live in January 2021, I said the average viewer of this channel can get 15,000. Viewers of this channel cleaned up 15,000. Elsewhere, they got a $600 stimulus check, ran for the hills, ran out of money. Not here. People got a lot of money. Last summer, after they got $45,000 from the first round, they got another round. Last Christmas, they got another round, 15,000. So, because there's still money out there, we're staying on point and on message. Since January, the new success stories continue coming on in, and I have success stories in just the last few hours. I may have another one tonight at Evenings LA. I think I just got it a few minutes ago. If you've had a success story, send it to me on private message. I'll feature it live on air. Tell me which round it is. What is a round? It means that someone got money from this before from this channel and now has gotten another round. And I'm talking about since 2021. I've had viewers getting this money since 2020. Here's Charles Garman, brand new on today's show. Got another $1,000 for energy assistance. Congratulations, Charles. Karen with a great story. She says, I lost all my jobs. I did not know how I was going to pay for any of my rent or utilities. I went to an organization in my area who helped with rent and utilities. I got 3 months of rent and 3 months of utilities. Ella, you're amazing. Average view of this channel gets about 3 to 5 months of checks each round. So you're sitting here watching this video in, February into March. So go March, April, May. You want to get 3 months. Some viewers get upwards of 5 months. This is brand new. Where do you get this money? Pull out a pen and paper. If you're a member of this channel, which I hope you are, membership link is on the video. Follow along with the newsletter. We're going to go through the details of where you get this money, starting right now. Reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. 3 things you must do. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must get multiple applications on file, and you must do multiple rounds. Now, please open that membership newsletter, follow along for more details, and reply upon those nonprofits, because those nonprofits often pick up sums that aren't even covered in the video, sometimes even nominal repairs. Now, the viewers have been winning every single day this week. I mean, these are viewers, many of these viewers got $40,000 to $100,000 from this before and have come back and got another pot of money. If you're a new viewer, you just found this channel, welcome. Go get this money today. Existing viewer got it before, get another round. Money is money, folks. We don't care what it is. And the reason why you see me covering so many different vehicles of money in this channel is because the more the cash is, the better it is. I mean, it's as simple as that. Anyone that's chasing a $1,600, $1,400, $2,000 stimulus check, and there's an opportunity out there for $45,000, it just looks myopic. You got to grab the biggest pot of money that's available. And that's what viewers have been doing. Bob Bacon said, I actually scored 3 more months of rent for my church. He said that yesterday. And the same day as Bob, Brian Donahue said, hey, Hyperbox, I just got a second round of rent for 5 more months. Thank you, LA. Now, amazing. That is his second time he's getting money. And he's getting 5 more months. I mean, there's 6 months in a year. So he's doing really well. He may have gotten almost a year a month of rent from watching this channel. I can't get every bill paid in the house for you folks, but I can get certain major bills paid. And most people's rent is like $1,500, $1,700. So that is usually about $7,000. Nisi is a long-standing viewer of this channel. She got about $30,000 from it 1-2 times last year. She got another round, and she sends us that message just a few days before these 2 people. And she got $7,000 for more for rent, $3,000 for utilities, about $10,000. Karen got $40,000, including $23,000 for rent just a few days ago. So get that money. I mean, what are you doing? Get the money. The average view of the show has gotten upwards of $45,000. You need to get money. Money is king. The more cash you get, the better. Don't wait around. Don't be tracking checks. Cashing those checks is what we do. Average viewer cashing $45,000 for third stimulus. Open that membership newsletter. It's featured under the link to this video. Do it today and get those incredible sums of money. There we go. Now let's turn back to the situation unfolding on the ground in Ukraine and Russia and how it impacts your wallet. This is a lot of people just don't understand. And sometimes I'm surprised how interconnected economies are. This is not the 1920s. This is not the 1960s. This ain't even the 1980s. You can destroy a economy in a blink of an eye because we are so interconnected electronically. And let's go over what's happening right now. Remember how many times I talked in the last few months about the G20 conferences where the number 20 biggest economies of the globe were meeting together and Russia was there and Vladimir Putin was there because his economy is at the time top 10. Well, at the time of this recording, he is somehow slowly floating out of that top 10. He's potentially, many analysts believe at the time of this recording, maybe about 11. He has fallen from about 10 to 11 at the time of this recording. They think by the end of today, it may be 12, largest economy. And they think by the middle of this week, end of the week, 15th economy. And then by the end of this week, out of the top 20. What's after that? Cuba, Iran situation. No longer a viable economy. Imagine the number 10 biggest economy in the globe going away overnight. How can you do this? It's because economies are linked electronically now. And if you cut off the ability of the economy to operate with other economies, then nothing works. And what does that? Sanctions. Now, I understand the word sanctions may be sort of a bland word to a lot of people. They just think it's something that doesn't do anything. Oh, it could destroy an economy. And what are they doing really well, the Western allies? They're destroying the Russian central bank. Notice I talked about Federal Reserve Jay Powell. He's head of our central bank. Well, the Western allies are destroying the Russian version, the Russian central bank. And what are they doing? Cutting it off from everything. The Russian central bank imploding overnight. Its currency down 30% in just a few hours. Russia bank can't send out money, can't receive money, and can't stabilize. The Russian bank, central bank, hasn't opened really more than 2 or 3 times the last few days to stabilize. And guess what? If you want to get the money out, really hard. They've allowed certain Western companies that have investments, a lot of which are US-based oil companies, to sell at massive billion-dollar losses in the last 24 hours to get their money out really quickly. And that money is coming out, and that's going. But guess who can't take their money out? Those charming people, the Russian oligarchs. What's a Russian oligarch? A Russian oligarch is a person who was a Russian citizen who was given a government contract by Putin, and it may be construction, it may be the telecom, and as a dictator, Putin, he took major stake in that business, whatever percentage it is, and the oligarch took all the rest of the money. It's not a democracy, it's a dictatorship. Where did that oligarch go with the money? To South Beach, to Los Angeles, bought mansions, bought yachts, bought professional teams. And they've been talking the channel, talk of places other than this channel, because I don't want to name names, but you know who they are. You can go on a Google search and look them up. The brand new breaking details about that is unfolding by the minute. First, Russian oligarchs are now seeing that their assets in the United States may get seized. There's a call to seize their assets in also England. Meantime, their ability to get their funds, because most of their funds are still in Russia, not here in the United States, is being blocked. Why? Because of SWIFT. What is SWIFT? SWIFT is a way in which banks communicate electronically to send money overseas, and it's denominated in US dollars. So you want to send $100 to a relative in Italy? SWIFT. Receive it from Italy? $100. Same way. So after my very strong words about this early on, as Italy actually was dragging its feet, finally the countries, the Western Alliance came together and banned Russian banks from using SWIFT. Not completely, I'll explain that in a second. So United States, France, Canada, Great Britain, and European Commission have now banned the ability of Russian central bank to route money in ruble in and out of its central bank. This is huge. This means that the central bank cannot receive funds and cannot transfer funds. Now, I'm going to explain something that's very complicated, but I'm going to make it simple for you. Boris Johnson, the PM of England, said that he wants to do complete SWIFT ban. There is no such thing as a complete SWIFT ban because you have U.S. businesses that need to get their stuff out of the Russian central bank, and they're casualties in this as well. So there's not a complete ban, but this is huge breaking news, and because of this, the Russian economy is imploding. It's literally going to smithereens overnight. And what does this mean for the battleground? It means that Russian forces will not be able to be funded. It means that that the operations will be impeded and that advances will be impeded as well. Now, how about those oligarchs? The Russian oligarchs can't get their funds out of Russia either. They have something called the golden passports. That's an actual expression. Golden passports, where Russian billionaires have been able to take out billions of dollars and transfer it into your local commercial bank here by SWIFT. They can't do that. And there's a run on all the banks in Russia right now to take some money out of the ATMs. Good luck. It's all going to smithereens. This is the success of the Western allies. Now, what's important for you to know that impacts your wallet is the issue, and this is a biggie, and I don't want to scare you on this, but I gotta tell you the good and the bad of it. $2,000 stimulus check. Oh, great, there's a $2,000 stimulus check in my hand. But the gasoline at the pump just went to $20 a gallon. So the $2,000 stimulus check ain't worth anything. We have to be careful about the price of gasoline at the pump through these next few weeks. That is why one of these subject matters on this channel is new on this channel is not only the FOMC meetings with raising the interest rate spikes that could impact your SS300, but also the price of gasoline. You drive, how much you're paying. Jump in the live chat. Tell me how much you're paying for price of pump. Regular basic station where you live. $5 a gallon here in Los Angeles. Well, this is why this is a big issue. If gasoline gets out of control, very bad things happen in the United States. Let me tell you, don't want to scare you, but let me tell you what happens. If gasoline, price of the pump gets out of control, unemployment, recession, stagflation, which means we're shrinking as an economy and things cost more to buy, and potentially, economic meltdown. The issue at hand is that because the United States economy is linked to other economies like England and France and Italy, that they cannot become destabilized because the gasoline in their country is out of control either. So everyone has to have gasoline normalized. The problem is that a major supplier of gasoline around the globe has now been taken offline because of these embargoes, because of these sanctions. And who is that? Of course, Russia. Russian oil has now been yanked off, and the way that you solidify a solution to it is you get countries to work in tandem to release gasoline, and the great news is that they have that tandem right today. The way the gasoline works is that if there's less of it, it goes up in price. It's a pretty simple concept. So there's not enough gasoline, your gas at the pump goes up. So what do? What is the solution for these countries to do? With Russia oil gone, they find where they have other gasoline they can release. Do they have some extra? They do. They have it in storage. Behind the bad flowers that keep on falling. I know, the flowers are getting their own emoji. They're getting their own Twitter channel. Because people are like, the flowers fell again. Yeah, it was just one of those days the flower kept on falling. So there's a stockpile of gasoline in every country called the reserves. And now the great news is that the Western Alliance has agreed to release some of the reserves in each of these countries because they can't just do one country. Got to do them all. And that solidifies a stabilization of the prices. The brand new details about this is good news for you as I stand with Ukraine, because you need to make sure that we not only stand with Ukraine, but we also stand as an alliance and hold our position as dominant economies, and we don't implode ourselves. And so what did they do? Well, Joe Biden got that agreement overnight, and it's huge. And that agreement is to release some of these barrels in stockpile in not just the United States, but also other countries. China, India, Japan, South Korea, and the UK have now released barrels. We are actively working with countries around the globe to alleviate a collective release of strategic petroleum reserves. And the United States will release additional barrels as conditions are warranted. What are the numbers? I need you to know these numbers. These are important. I love the live chat. I'm going to jump in the live chat with you in just a second. I love the live chat on Mornings LA today. Viewers said, thank you for keeping me so informed. I know my viewers. You are very smart viewers. I learned how smart you were in the very first days of this channel. I was blown away. I thought, give them more information, educate them more. The more I can teach you, the more I can learn. I never knew about price of oil barrel. I'm not a barrel oil guy. I don't follow this type of stuff. I learned it, and now I'm teaching you about it. This is big, because if it blows up, it gets very bad, then our economy goes to smithereens. So let's go over where we are right now. When Russia invaded Ukraine, we jumped to about a 105 a barrel of gasoline. This is not a price you pay, it's something the wholesaler pays. The United States releasing gasoline got us down to 94. Now we're about 100. We went to about 101 this morning. There's a concern that if we stay at 100, we can sustain it for 6 months if inflation doesn't go higher. Inflation is not going higher. We already did that analysis. So 100 is sustainable. 125, 135, trouble. Now, the thing that I'm going to say very bluntly, I don't know the answer, and it's worrying me. It's worrying me as I make this recording, is that there are other countries overseas that are more dependent on Russian oil than we are. And if Russia really cuts off all of our oil, do we have all of their oil? Do these other countries that are neighboring to them, like Japan, South Korea, UK, India, have enough oil to flow to those other countries to stabilize their economies? I don't want to name a country because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want country number A in Western Europe that's very dependent upon Russian oil to suddenly see no Russian oil and suddenly say, I have no oil. Our economy is going to smithereens. And that could undo the Western alliance. This is why it's big politically. It's big for their economy because their economy can implode, will implode as well. I stand with Russia. Let's go back to some simplest stuff. Viewers have been loving the idea of even owning a t-shirt. People say, oh my goodness. And I see some of the people in the live chat who got them when I got them. If you use Amazon Prime, it's likely arriving today. The keyword that you're searching for on Amazon or Walmart, Amazon Prime is, about a 2-day delivery, is I stand Ukraine. I have no financial interest in these t-shirts. I do not know where they're manufactured. I take no responsibility if it's, made by, whatever. I'm just telling you, they're pretty t-shirts. And it shows our alliance to the situation. I stand Ukraine. It's very hard to get flags on Amazon Prime. It's very hard to get flags on Walmart. But I was even looking up face painting the other day. The beautiful images from the protests overseas, people putting beautiful yellow and blue face painting stripes. If you're a UCLA Bruins fan, you probably have it in the kitchen. I doubt. But that is also another option across the board. Now, how do you follow the news? You really want to follow LALATE on Twitter because I'm retweeting the official statements from the Ministry of Ukraine. They're often in the native language. And all you do is you push the button under the tweet to translate it. The imagery won't be shown on this channel because sometimes it's too graphic, it's too horrifying, and includes elements of fatalities. There's a lot of other news stories that are at issue that I try to add into the social media accounts of LA in our support of Ukraine. Ukraine is everything. It is the refugee situation. Millions, hundreds of thousands of refugees have now fled to the border of Poland, which has been absolutely wonderful. There's reports that Boris Johnson, head of England, will be arriving in Poland to show solidarity as he was under some fire, as to be expected. A lot of Western countries are under fire for allegedly not taking in refugees. A couple of messages which I simply need to stay on point with and remind you, because I haven't seen it yet and I will not allow it, is for you to understand that the resources, the sanctions, the military ammunition, the delegations that are coming from the United States to help the battle against Russia is not your stimulus money. So I don't want anyone to say, they don't care about us, they care about them. They're taking our money, they're using our money. That's just someone that is saying something very ignorant and won't be allowed on this channel. I haven't seen it, so I'm very happy. Clearly, those people were removed, I don't know when they were removed, last year when they got upset about masks or something. Halloween got them upset. But the good news is that it's not your money. These are different piles of money. Piles of money come from different resources, and they're not commingled. There's different things that are separated out in the United States for different purposes. But when we're talking about oil and gas, that's Joe Biden's doing. He has to stabilize that. That's not the Federal Reserve. So you want Joe to make sure he takes care of that, like the SS-300. He's the guy who has the finger on oil and gas prices. He has the ability as the executive branch to control it. Federal Reserve, Jay Powell, he's the guy who deals with our interest rates. And our interest rates deal with our inflation, and then MPS your SS300. So there's different bodies that do with different things. Joe Biden can repurpose sums of money from existing programs that expired. That does not require an act of Congress, and he can do that as well. That gets you checks across the board. I know there's a lot of different places where money can come from, and I want to try to simplify it for you across the board. When you're showing your support for what's battling on the ground overseas, understand there's a lot of stories by the minute, by the hour. If I miss a story that you want to have covered on the channel, send me a private message. I feature the Africans from the Nigerian educational institutions struggling to flee into neighboring countries of Poland. And the great news as embassy stepped up to help them as well. There's a lot of special interest stories across the board. Understand that this is a country that was built on immigrants. We are all here to help one another. And the situation is far from over. Acts of aggression have still been expressed by Vladimir Putin against neighboring countries like Finland and Norway, saying, hey, you joined NATO, I'm going after you as well. He's now put his nuclear arms at the highest state of a level. The situation is that he has not taken a single city in his battle so far. And many like myself, as I add my personal commentary at the end, are starting to wonder, how long to the people of Russia, that do include billionaires, that aren't necessarily oligarchs, are going to allow this madman to destroy their economy? You have to understand that Russia is not an island in the middle of nowhere that has $10 to its name. It's a number 10 economy, and he's destroying his economy overnight. And there's a lot of rich people in that country that have a lot of influence. And when you get them together, when are they going to step up? I think it can't go on much longer. I think the pressure is more than the price of vodka. It's the impact on so many citizens, on the people of Russia. They aren't going to allow this to continue much longer. Let me jump in the live chat and see what are your some comments of the situation. Let me see of what your people are saying. Keep our faith and keep on advocating, says Anne. Sandy hurt herself. Oh, I hope you feel better. Promises, get it done, says someone. There is Juana Martin. Hey, LALATE, how are you? There is, let me see more of the comments. Oh, Sandy smashed her car in 2014. Oh, hope you feel better. Let's see some more of the comments. Love to see some bacon on my table and eggs, of course, says Elizabeth. There you go. Have you heard about all the vodka issues? I've been tweeting them a lot. There's a big call by me and others to ban sale of Russian-made vodka in all city, county, and state locations or owned properties, and also bars and restaurants. It should be yanked off of the shelves. Destabilize the Russian economy however you can. Let's see more of the incredible comments across the board in here as well. It's still 3:59 in Illinois. Thank goodness. It's still early in Illinois. Yeah, that works. You know, the time difference between the United States and overseas is assisting, because what happens here is that when I go off camera, by the end of the days and the recordings, and when you're watching Evenings LA, then I'm on social media, I'm resharing the messages of what's happening through the eyes of people overseas. So there you go. Great hashtag campaigns coming in from Anne. I stand with Ukraine, stop Putin, stop Russia. Russian oligarchs, Ukraine heroes, Putin war criminal, and talking about t-shirts coming as well. Join me next if you're watching the show at 11 a.m. Coming up next is the 1 o'clock afternoons edition, and then we have a brand new afternoons at 3 o'clock. And then in evenings, if you're watching this in the evening, then coming up next is Evenings Extra at 8 o'clock. We got shows overnight as well. All your incredible money is coming from all these incredible programs, not impacted by the events of Russia and what's happening in Ukraine. But I stand with Ukraine. Show your support. Do not stay out of focus. Stay in touch. Stay advocating. Push for the money that is yours. Stay motivated. Stay focused. And learn about everything that is yours and is coming your way. Stay here and stay with LA for more.